history of the firewall, the basic concept of the firewall, and also some product introduction for Hillstone NG firewall. First of all, let's have a look at the evolutionary history of the firewall. As you can see from here, the first generation firewall, which was introduced into the market around 1995, it is basic packet filtering firewall, which using ACL to do the access control. It has nothing control regarding the IP or applications. Until now, this ACL technology are also used in this network switch or routing. And around 1995, Checkpoint, they started to use the stateful inspection technology into the firewall. And that screen actually, they introduced the hardware-based firewall, combining the stateful inspection technology and also ASIC technology with a big success in 1995. So the second generation of the firewall, they introduced the session concept. So they're using session to track the status of the traffic flow, and the collection is IP based. And also they are using ALG to track these multi-channel protocols. So the second generation firewall already enhanced with this access control by using the sessions and also maintain the communications through the session 5 tuple. And after 2008, most of the security vendors, they're starting to introduce the next generation firewall into the market. Next generation firewall is designed in new architecture. For example, multi-core processing system, the full parallel operating system in hardware and software. In this case, the firewall throughput has been improved significantly. And also, you can use the NG firewall to identify more besides the session 5 tuple. We can use the policy to control 7 tuple even, which also able to track and identify the signatures, applications, and also the user behaviors. And even we are able to control the encrypted traffic. So the first generation packet filtering firewall, which only check the packet header for IP address and also the port to do the access control. And the detected object is for single packet. The data connection requires the bidirectional all permit policy, which is not able to correlate the packets relation. And we filter the packets through the ACL. So this is the first generation firewall. And also, as you can see, during that stage, during that time, the original firewall can do very limited security prevention functions. And second generation firewall, which is stateful inspection based firewall, are introduced with the session technology, and session connection is the detected object. The session is defined via 5 tuple, source destination IP, source destination port, and also protocol. Session also maintains bidirectional traffic, which means you only need one-way policy to control the access. And also we have the whole session information stored. Okay, so that is the second generation firewall. And next generation firewall, the big difference, first of all, as I mentioned, is the design in both hardware and software with the improved performance. And second will be the deep packet identification technology, okay, which is able to do high-level application layer detection, comparing with the previous firewalls, which are only working in layer 3 or layer 4. But the next generation firewall, they can also working to detect the applications and also the users' behaviors. And it's also able to identify for the contents, for the users, for the encrypted traffic as well. So this is actually the basic evolutionary history of the firewall through the firewall development. So currently, all the vendors are still focusing on the NG firewall, and few of the vendors, they started to introduce some new technologies into the NG firewall, such as what we are doing in our T-Series. We introduced the AI technology into the NG firewall to offering the intelligent next generation firewall. Let's have a look what are the concept, okay, or what are the basic components in the firewall. So the first major one will be the security zone. Security zone is a logical entity for one or multiple network segment. We use the zone to differentiate firewall and router. Zone will help to divide the network into multiple segments in the firewall, and then we can provide the secure detection functions based on the zone. And we also can apply the proper policy rules to control the traffic that transferred through the zones. The policy applied to zones will not rely on any of the physical interfaces. In this case, the policy rules will be more flexible. The zones in firewall can be divided into both layer 2 zone and layer 3 zone. Depends on which scenario the firewall will be deployed. Okay, if you deploy the firewall in layer 2, you can use the layer 2 zone to control for the traffic. If you deploy the firewall in layer 3, you can use the layer 3 zone. As you can see from the picture here, we just draw a very simple diagram to control the access from your internal computer to the online web server. The firewall was deployed in layer 3 routing mode. In this case, we create 3 zones. One is trust zone, so that all your internal environment, okay, we bind into trust zone, and the interface that connect to the internet, we bind with untrust zone, and the interface that connected to your internal resources or internal servers, we create a DMZ zone. In our device, there are 8 predefined security zones, which are trust, untrust, DMZ zone. Those are layer 3. And layer 2 trust, layer 2 untrust, layer 2 DMZ zone. Those are the zones working in layer 2. And we also have dedicated VPN hub zone, which is used for VPN functions, and dedicated HA zone for the HA functions. You can also customize the security zone as you need. You can create your own zone and use the zone and apply the policy to control the traffic that go through the zone. Now I was also gonna share some product information to you guys. Some of you may got any idea how we can offer from Hillstone. For the HCSA, we will focus on the contents or the functions for our NG firewall. Basically, we are offering E series as NG firewall and T series, as I mentioned, which is the AI-driven intelligent NG firewall. And also we have the high-end, the higher performance data center firewall. Besides that, we also have the virtual NG firewall, which is cloud edge. Those are the NG firewall range offered from Hillstone. This is the performance metric for all the product lines. As you can see, for E-Series NG firewall, we can offer from the low-end 1 gig desktop level NG firewall to the high-end 80 gig. And for T-Series ING firewall, we're offering 5 models from 10 gig to 40 gig. And for data center firewall, we can offering the firewall throughput more than 1T, So for the customers, if they are asking for the high performance, high reliability, and elastic architecture for the data center firewall, X series will be the option. And for the virtual firewall, we are offering 4 models currently for the public cloud and also the private cloud. This slide also give you guys some idea for the entire model that we offered for E-Series NG firewall. We have some desktop for small and medium business, and we also have some high-end for the middle or large enterprises, or even for data centers. We also had the models that comes with the internal storage. So in this case, if customers, they are asking for the local storage for logs, for reports, we can offer the E-Series model that had the built-in storage. Here, just give you guys some specific example how the Hillstone NG firewall looks like and how many interfaces we can support. Take the E3960 as an example, which is the middle range, the middle end NG firewall. We had our fixed port. For example, we have dedicated management port, we have dedicated HA port, we have the console port, we have USB port. We also have some fixed I/O port, like we have 1 gig copper port, we have the SFP fiber port. We also have 2 generic slots available for the interface expansion, and those are supported IOC card, which the customer can choose to add the expansion module into the device to to increase the fixed interface. And those are the T-series models, as I mentioned. So T-series intelligent NG firewall is a good option for medium and large enterprises if they are looking for the advanced threat protection for their environment. And this is one of the examples for T3960, which is also the middle range model from the RNG firewall. We also have fixed interfaces and also 2 generic slots available for the expansion modules. X series is the data center firewall. Here we also take the middle range for the X9180, which is the maximum firewall throughput will be reached at 500 gig. And the data center firewall design in full distributed architecture, and it's a chassis based NG firewall. So you can easily add any of the modules for the business scale. And it fully supports the high availability in both hardware and software. So in the front, as you can see, we have 6 expansion slots available for the modules. And at the rear side, we also have 4 power supplies. You can use those power supplies to be deployed in redundant as well. And also the fan tree and control modules, switch module and control modules. So you can have 2 control modules in high availability. So this is basically the background for the firewalls and also the firewall products we are offering from Hillstone side.